the date looks better at the bottom. But oh, yeehaw! 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 We used to, I don't know where that came from, American rodeos or something. Back in the days of Second Life, you got excited about something, you didn't clap. You went yeehaw!
Yeehaw.
So you clap for me, and I will yeehaw. There you go. Right, okay. Well, welcome to another show. Of course, my name is Mal Burns. That's MAL, one word, and BURNS, the second bit of the word of the name, sort of thing. But as with most things on the web, I have been squashed. Yeah, I'm squashed here, there, and everywhere. As it happens, primarily on Twitter, where you'll find me at http blah blah. Well, forget the blah blah, it's a W something, whatever. Twitter.com/Malburns, MALBURNS. See? Squashed. One word. There's another one too. Twitter.com/Metaworld News. Again, two words, but squashed. The latter is about social virtual worlds and is fairly sparsely populated. Many weeks, other weeks it's quite busy, but the Malbonus channel is the main one you want for all things kind of VR-ish. Um, yeah, metaverse related and input related. And let me see. Yes, well, today, when we're recording this, it happens to be the 11th of April of the grand old year 2021. Yeah. Easy to forget where you are these days, isn't
It
it? It could be
is. It is.
2019 for all I remember or care. Oh
Uh,
no. Anyway, all feels the same these days, sadly. Anyway, yeah, that's the day. So you're going to be hearing my news headlines for the week ending today, which is the week ending the 11th of April. Helping me do it all is the wonderful James Atloud. Hello, James.
oh, hi Mel. How are you today? You sound good.
I am fine. I am fine, and I'm wearing another At Loud T-shirt.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well,
You
this
have
is.
another one this week.
I
It's
do.
and
I do.
it's not dancing. It's not dancing, jumping up and down one this week, but it's very pretty and psychedelic sort of.
Yeah, I thought so
Anyway,
too. I thought so too, and I like how the it has to me the image of a dragon, and so that
oh,
I see a dragon head in for my my gestalt processing in my brain. I see a dragon head there, and I just think that's kind of
in the
fun.
middle bit there,
Yeah, in the
in the
middle,
middle bit,
like
or
an eye and a mouth and a pointy nose. So I just thought that was fun.
I'd have to take time and look at it head on to
Yeah,
actually try think. Yeah, I kind of like those things. I mean, it's like actually
yeah.
the most elementary thing is nice summer's day with a lovely blue sky, but not totally blue, and you've got clouds moving around. You lie on the grass and you look up there, and as the clouds move and overlap each other, or blow into certain
Oh
shapes, you
yeah,
sort of
yeah.
see
You
things
see
in them,
things,
you know.
right? Our pattern
And
processing.
yeah, and yeah, I like that feeling too. I mean, it's when I take a liking to what you might call abstract art, which is not really my thing. So I
Hmm.
like photorealism and surrealism and stuff. But sometimes I come across a piece of abstract art that it would normally have to be painted or something, but basically something in the shapes and the patterns implies something to me.
Yep.
And I can't say to another person, "Look, can't you see the dog or the cat?" Because to them, it probably is meaningless, and they wouldn't say anything like that at all. But I do, and that I think is what makes a lot of abstract art click
Yeah,
with
yeah.
people.
Yep. And
Anyway,
I
to
have on the
get
lower
on,
third. This is again this is a design from Neo Zero, Neo Zero store
yeah,
at Sansar. So if you go into the Sansar store, you can find this person's
go
store and
to
find this very shirt.
do a search for Neo Zero and see what pops up.
Yep.
Wonderful, very good indeed. Okay, well, James is here in his spectacular T-shirt, of course, armed with his mask. Sensible man has not decided to take it off yet.
Nope.
No
Not yet.
end of lockdown. No end of lockdown for us, I tell you.
Nope. Nope.
Um, yeah, I'm told I can, but I'm bloody well not. That's here in Britain, though, of course. Right. But meanwhile, James is also, of course, twiddling knobs. He likes twiddling his knobs, and it allows him to sort of sit in one way and show you my desktop while I'm talking, and turn another way and show you my avatar here in world with some, proper camera work in world, so to speak. So, yeah, that makes all the fun of the fair, or the fun of the metaverse, or the fun of Sandstar, or whatever.
Hmm.
Before I get started, let's get on with it. Okay, now I say he's sharing my desktop with you. We use a particular software to share the desktop into our stream, and it's performing extremely laggy this week. So I guess James can actually show you what I've got on screen. Um, it's right. That came up quick enough for you. The thing is, it's just an animated GIF. It's not a video or anything heavy, and it's really, really slow. Although it actually looks slightly quicker in the broadcast, it doesn't. Well, go figure. Um, okay. It's just anecdotal. I think it's funny looking at that. I think it's a chimpanzee, but I'll just call it a monkey, basically. Oh, an ape. It's not a gorilla,
It's an
I know
ape.
that.
It's not a monkey. It's an ape, right?
Oh, it is an ape. Is
Yep.
it a chimpanzee
It's
or
a
an ape?
chimpanzee
Or
in the ape family, right? But
I see.
but
Right.
monkeys are
So
very different, right? My
monkeys are
daughter
different.
works
Yeah.
with bonobos, which are another ape.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah,
I'm I'm surprisingly fond of animals, but
yeah,
I've
yeah.
never really. I'm not always able to tell them apart. To me, they're just like midget people with fur. And the only distinguishing ones are the most gentle ones are those huge gorillas because they're vegetarian and they're just friendly. Anyway, but let's get back to our news. I'm
Hmm.
clearly prone to distraction today. Basically, this chimp has a chip planted in its head, and it's sucking on a tube there, which is giving it food. But it's playing itself a game of Pong. That's not a pre-recorded video that it's just watching. And nor is this a sort of fake video. This is actually the chimpanzee actually playing this game of Pong. It's all been rigged by Elon Musk, basically, his Neuralink device. And I suppose in theory, if we put a chip in a human head, we can play Pong too.
Yep,
Who
yep.
knows? Play a game of chess or something a bit more human-like, actually.
That's the
Although
plan.
for many years, this was like table. This was the first sort of. It's like tennis, basically, um, without a net. I remember when. Yeah, I've got some. Oh, I don't know how. God, how old are now? Like a nephew who's probably must be about 35 now. I think back when he was about 10, I remember buying this Pong thing for their Christmas. It was something
Hmm.
you plugged into the back of a TV where the aerial goes, and you switched it on and you played this sort of thing. How far we have come. So, sorry, chimp. You're 30 years out of date, mate. We look forward to you joining us in the current century someday.
Hmm.
If we're still around to welcome you, that is. You might have come here and find yourself alone. Right, okay, no more of that. Just another quick picture before I close that thing. This is tomorrow, 12th of the 4th of 21. Um, we show you videos and things, or give you the links to all nights. There's going to be basically tomorrow night. There's all night in LA. Tomorrow night is tomorrow night, East Coast time, of course. And Philip Rosedale and various others are going to be there talking about spatial audio. As you may know, Philip's virtual world stuff at the moment is primarily concerned with spatial audio. It was actually one of the major things in the 3D world of high fidelity at the time. So if you're interested in what people are doing there on that front, join the OR conference. Well, it's not a conference; it's just a single night. They hold them once a month, I think. Looking at spatial audio tomorrow, so you can just check AWE for OR and just make a point of putting OR LA or whatever in your search engine to find out more about that. But basically, I think it would be by and large, it would just be a stream, probably on Zoom. So I'm now going to put my picture gallery away because there's nothing much else here of interest. Oh, a piece of symbolism there, though it is a bit out of date now.
What's that?
It doesn't come up yet.
Oh, okay. Nope, nope.
Oh dear, oh dear.
There it is. I see it.
I did say we had a bit of lag here, didn't
Yeah,
I?
yeah.
So anyway, you know what you got to put in the dumpster, or well, it's called a trumpster here, but this K9 is apparently not content to put anything inside; it's doing it on
Right,
the
right.
outside too. There we are, very symbolic,
Making
I
its
think.
contribution. That's right.
Make its contribution to the modern world.
Right.
Right now, again, you're going to have to wait. We're going to have to contend with lag today. This is really unusual. Um, I've already got the web page open. Here we are.
I see it.
This is where we start every week. The XR peak week, week peak. Sorry.
Do we need a sound effect for
um,
that?
uh, yeah, I got a keyboard that can make that noise too.
All right.
New edition here. Right. Yeah, skullghost.com, SKARREDGHOST.com. This is published on Mondays, and it's a look back at the week previous by Anthony, whatever his name is, I've forgotten again. Skull Ghost, he's known as anyway. Back on April Fool's Day, he did this joke review of some, Apple augmented reality thing. He'd received a prototype that he wasn't meant to get from China, and that's a photo of him wearing said demo. I think if you have a close look, you'll probably recognise those as a sort of toy gimmick, which has you've got little dots, see-through dots in the plastic there. It's a sort of I forget what they're used for. It's some kind of toy glasses. Anyway, it was an April Fool's review, even though it's about 20 pages long. It was it was a fake, Italian style, I guess, which is where he is. Why are my notifications still happening? Never mind. Okay, so that's what you've got, and as we scan, oh, of course, I'm going to have a problem scanning down here too, as you can probably tell. Um, okay, I'm not going to be able to. I'm going to have to rely on whatever's at the top of these pages, I think, as we move on. I'll
Yeah,
basically tell
yeah.
you what's in this side. Um, roundup. Can't really tell. Most of what he rounds up at the beginning of the week will be stuff that was covered on our show last week if it was within our focus, but he does include various other stuff of his own. So scarredghost.com is where you want to go for that one. Moving on, we're going to mashable.com. In fact, the full URL you want is in other words, in dot mashable.com. And while I was reading it out, it actually managed to load for you, didn't it? So maybe that's the way we're going. Doesn't get past the scrolling business, does it?
No, no.
Basically, they're talking about the spatial app, mixed reality teleworking app, and which has been on the Quest 2, the fastball contraption for quite a while, is now breaking free from this the Quest 2, and you're going to be able to use it in various other formats for different types of headsets and stuff. I'm scrolling down. You can't see me doing so, although it might catch up with me eventually. It will now be available as well in HTC Vive, the Valve Index, Windows Mixed Reality headsets, Varjo, as well as Oculus Rift and Oculus Rift S, which are no longer in production, but they guess they do exist out there somewhere, so to speak. And users are invited to join spatial meetings from a web browser, but you'll no longer be required to create an account or sign in. Obviously, if you have an account and sign in, that's fair enough too. Um, you can access spatial on your phone through a mobile app on both Mac or iOS, I should say, and in Android. And yeah, well, basically that's the news. Basically, is that they break it. You no longer have to have a Quest 2 gadget on your head to actually use spatial, you can now use it in a whole load of other ways too, including on mobiles. So that is in.mashable.com. And moving on, this is going to be an even quicker show than I thought at this rate, isn't it? Right. These shoes will take you to adventures on other worlds. Right. Now, this is a site called thegadgeteer.com. THE dash GADGETEER.com. And as I spoke it, so it appeared. Wonderful. I know this is a new trick. All I have to do is read out the URL and it automatically appears on your screens. This is the way. This is a good way to contend with lag, isn't it? This is my excuse. It's magic voicing it.
Yeah.
Right. So these shoes, as you can see, we covered them. I think at other points, maybe in a Kickstarter or prototype. They're called cyber shoes, and they're being promoted on this side as ideal for people playing Windows 10 VR games. You need a pair of shoes to level up your game, it says. So cyber shoes let you really walk in virtual reality games without having to deal with motion sickness. That is debatable. I get dizzy when I stand up without motion shoes on. I think it's all
Indeed.
a matter.
Right.
It's basically you don't have to deal with the kind of motion sickness that maybe walking in a helmet does, but you're still going to be in a helmet of some sort. So I think they're cheating a bit there. Anyway, you need $400 or $399.99 to be precise, US dollars, I presume, to buy those, and you can get them at cybershoes.com or at some place called Amazon. Yeah, it's a long way to go down to the jungle to pick up a pair of shoes, isn't it? Wonder what.
Haha.
All the way to Amazon. Dear me, dear me. Anyway, I'm sure you know what they're talking about, even if I don't. Yes, as always. Right, moving on. Thegadgeteer.com. That was THE dash GADGETEER.com. And moving on.
Madam A should know what you were talking about as well.
Good point. Good point. Where are you, noisy
Where are
woman?
you, Madam A?
She's not around.
Yep.
And Madam G's moved to a new position. Well, actually, she's even more like the fire off, to be
Oh.
honest. But
Oh.
anyway,
Okay.
Madam G, where is Madam A? I don't. And Siri says, "Oh, I don't know." Right.
Oh, funny.
Okay. Oh, you were asking me earlier when we were offline if I had a button saying go live. I didn't, but I've now got a button that appears saying end stream.
Ah. Yep.
It's obviously giving me the opportunity to just kick this thing to
Just
smithereens
kick
if I'm
it to
not happy about
smithereens, right?
if I'm not happy about it's going.
The
I don't know
end
what
is
happens to you.
near.
I don't know what happens to poor old James if I do that. Well, we're still on Discord. Never mind.
Well, my
Okay, let's get
broadcasting
on with it.
software would not tell me a thing. It would just be happily sending a stream to wherever it goes.
Yes, wherever it goes,
All right.
indeed. Okay, so this one, this is I don't know, this is like a magazine or a newspaper, I don't know. It's called thefederalist.com. THEFEDERALIST.com. And basically, it's an article in praise of set design. We're used to seeing set design, particularly in theatres and installation kind of things, and often even in films. Especially filmed in small sets, as it were. Set design is a real nice art kind of thing. I used to do it when I was a child. My idea was to take lots of old cardboard boxes and chop one side off, and then I had a little stage, a theatre. And then I used to rig things up with Christmas tree lights to be the spotlights, and the train set engine to make whirly things move in the background. Oh, I had a fine old time. Anyway, it was a sort of starting point for set design, really.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
we live in a virtual set right here where we are.
Indeed,
So,
you've come a long way, and
very inexpensive to put together. So
It was. It was. It
Yeah.
was probably cheaper than buying the electricity generator for the train set.
Right.
Which I
Agreed.
basically I took the motor out of the electric train,
Hmm.
and then I stuck wheels on it with different sheets of coloured plastic, where they weren't didn't have liquid in them, but a bit like liquid light wheels that came along by the 60s.
Ah, okay. Yep.
And yeah, it was fun. The effect was more like a strobe than a liquid light wheel, but there you go. But being a train set, I forget what transformer box I think they were called.
Yes. Right.
The same knob that you controlled the speed of the toy train also controlled the speed of the wheel going round. So you could have a slow effect or a fast effect, as it were.
Yeah. Yep.
Depending on how often you want the colours to change on the cardboard box stage. Oh, that's taking me back. Good God, that must be what 50 years ago. No, more like 60. Okay, the stuff I did. Hey, right, early career in set design. That was
Hmm.
right. Set designers were finally able to draw fans into their vivid dream without the constraints of Newtonian physics. Yet virtuality isn't all wonder. That's the author, Joe Allen, of the article, and referring to pandemic lockdowns crushing the concert industry, but things are starting to move again, etc. Commenting on using virtuality, including South by Southwest, which apparently really cracked it. Haven't actually seen anything recorded from that yet. I think there are some SXSW videos online, but they're kind of real world performances by musicians. There's a very much they've had them every year. Um, Sort of recorded and then played at the event. Um, so anyway, some of the South by Southwest was pretty well appraised. They refer to Jean-Michel Jarre thing and various stuff. Um, right, you can't see me scrolling, so I'll just basically, it's just a look at kind of what's going on and what, yeah, I suppose you might say from the author's point of view, it's an appreciation of set design in virtuality as opposed to set design elsewhere. So you find that at the Federalist.com, TheFederalist.com. Moving on, and we're on another visit to the scarred ghost. So I think James can give us a bit of a noise. Oh, oh. Hello, Anthony. Ahoo. Okay. Right, this is April 6th, midweek, wasn't it? The Unity Cube is on AppLab, review and lessons learned. It's one of his reviews, which obviously goes on for a bit. And the Unity Cube, I'm not going to bother. I can try, but I think with all the lag, you're not going to get much of this.
The mighty Unity Cube is coming for you. Make you enjoy Unity. We are development for everyone. Leave the cube.
Right, I think don't think we're going to stand any
Yeah, and the
chance.
audio will be way out of sync, Mel. So I don't think
Yeah,
that.
I
Yep.
don't think it really moved on screen. Yeah. So anyway, if you go to the site, you've got a couple of videos to look at here. He says the Unity Cube is, in his humble opinion, the killer app for virtuality, not only because he made it, but because it really is the most complete and versatile app in the market. You can use to simulate whatever situation you'd like to have with a big cube in front of you in real life. This isn't another April. No, it's April 6th. I don't know. Anyway, it's something he made. Good old Scott Ghost Day. Right. I've counted many use cases like A, fitness, B, psychology, 3, language learning, 4, relaxation, 5, love. You can hug your cube. And 6, you name it. Um, maybe he'd been inspired by his own April Fool's joke to actually invent this thing. But basically, all the things you can do with this cube. Um, uh, arguably, you could just throw dice and pretend that the dice is a cube, isn't it? You could invent things in real life to do with
Yeah,
it
yeah.
too. Anyway, a cube in virtual life, and of course, cubes are not new to us. They are the basic form of, and have been for what is it, 18 years? Something called a prim.
Hmm.
And there are many jokes going around in virtual worlds about dropping prims and leaving your prims lying on the ground. Anybody would think they were cigarettes or worse still, some kind of dropping.
All right.
Anyway, the Unity Cube. Go to skullghost.com, SKARREDGHOST.com. This is turning into a weird weed, not
Yeah.
only for the
Yeah.
lag, but the posts anyway, and the ones we have got. I think I've got 3 in a row from AR Post here, actually. ARPOST.co, not com, just a CO. And again, April 6th. Augmented reality in social media, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Yes. Um, this is not social media in virtual reality as such. It's about the use of augmented reality in existing social media, be it Snapgram, Instagram, Facebook, etc. Using it to create all sorts of filters and experiences for their users. However, AR is no longer just fun and games. Um, doesn't really matter whether I got lag or not. The picture that goes with this is not displaying. I've just got an empty square with a question mark in it. That's not very helpful, is it? Uh, right. Um, okay. Well, I'll just say the things they seem to be looking at here. How is augmented reality changing social media? That seems to come up on the screens there. Why should augmented reality concern us? And is augmented reality the future of social media? Um, so it rounds up that sort of stuff, really. So that's arpost.co. Moving down to here, actually, because this one and the one following are also at the same website, arpost.co. VR mindfulness is immersive technology the next big thing in the workplace, in workplace well-being. Basically, um, workplace well-being is increasingly recognized as a top priority for employers, spurred on by the growing evidence correlating employee well-being with retention and performance. And coming into that, though it's not mentioned here or isn't even part of this article, is the kind of the difference working from home has made for a lot of people. Employers are getting longer hours out of their employees simply because of the convenience of working at home. They're not being forced into it, I hasten to add. It's just so, there's no rush to get the train at the end of the day or rush to get in kind of thing. It's when you work from home. No, stress-free experience of in a fashion. Anyway, all signs are pointing in the same direction. We're entering a new era of tech-enabled mind and body optimization in the workplace. That's the important bit. Um, and they talk about waking up to the importance of well-being and unique opportunities delivered by immersive technologies, harnessing the power of mindfulness in virtual reality, and immersive technology and the employee of the future. And yeah, various other stuff there. And I see the screen is long since long since behind me there. Anyway, so arpost.co is what you want for that one, and that is the same web address for this next one too, which is about how virtual reality data visualization sets a new standard. So once again, arpost.co, and this time speaking the Earl did not load it. There we are. Finally. How virtual data visualization sets a new standard for big data. This is all about virtuality as a form of visualization. We covered this in a different article in either last week or the week before. The sort of thing that companies like Dayton have been doing for probably 10 years or more in Second Life. It's basically the idea is, your bar charts, your flow charts, your schematics, like this picture data age there. Um, that's actually a study of something in 2025. But the irony here is that picture is showing a flat representation. The picture of the planet, the map of the planet in the background really has nothing to do with the important thing here is the colored charts, right? Which um, uh, how virtual reality data visualization is doing, so to speak. And the blue one at the bottom here is China, and the one at the top is ROW. The one underneath it is the USA. And right, I'm not sure what the
Russia?
well, EMEA is second from the bottom. Then there's APJXC, which is in the middle. Then the US, which is above that, and then ROW at the top. I'm not. Uh,
Rest of world. Rest of the world. That's my
oh,
guess.
of course. Oh, of course. I should know that. Americans love that phrase.
Yep.
I was, I had an American friend who used to come over and visit. This is way back in, I suppose, the 1970s. And his favorite television show. I don't think he actually liked watching it, but it was called. It was snooker, or I think it was snooker, or was it pool? It's one of the two, right? And it was always England versus the rest of the world.
Oh,
And he thought this was hilarious, the fact that Britain competed against the rest of the world, not an individual country or whatever, but it was almighty Britain versus the rest of
the
the
rest of
world.
the world.
And
Yeah.
I must have, that actually in a way is quite funny. But no, it still does actually happen. I mean, it could be another country. Let's say, I don't know, Sweden invents a new sport and becomes very good at it. So you have Swedish contests and whatever, and Swedish towns versus or clubs or whatever are compete, and some of them win, and then other countries start taking it up. Until they've mastered it and taken it up, it's going to really the other countries are really going to be like a collective one step behind. So you'd have Sweden versus the rest of the world at this whatever the hypothetical thing is. Why do I blabber so much? Don't ask me. Rabbit holes indeed.
That was unique.
Uh,
Yeah.
I'm, I'm really throwing by the lag here.
Yep.
Anyway, 14 years at Morgan Stanley as an investment analyst. By far the author's biggest challenge was trying to process a daily deluge of information. And he started using virtual reality hardware in 2016 and decided it was going to be a revolutionary technology of his lifetime. And secondly, that VR can transform the process of analysis and presentation. And I'm sure all of you watching this show at least know that virtual reality, whether we're talking about headset hardware for 3D spaces, or whether we're talking about just 3D spaces you can navigate in a virtual world on a 2D screen, it's 3D. It's like the real world. It has an added dimension. This chart that you see there may have looked good up front on a whiteboard or projector in a conventional, I don't know, auditorium. But you can't get in there and look around. You know, with virtual reality, even on a 2D computer monitor, you can tilt it around and see here you've got height and width. But if you imagine just tilting it around, you would have a depth. And, the China bit there wouldn't just come up like that, but it would have more information relevant to that line in the depth dimension. See what I mean? And it's like a multiplication thing. 1 + 1 will always equal 2. But I've forgotten what the analogy is actually. But basically, the idea is 3 dimensions in the multiplex. That gives you a lot more information. It's not just twice as much as 2 dimensions. It's considerably more. Um, Ask a scientist. Don't ask me. Oh dear, right. Big data problems that it helps solve. You can view and process large amounts of data in the same real time. Um, uh, Imagine trying to do a puzzle by only looking at one puzzle piece at a time. The first step in the puzzle is to lay out all the pieces, and information analysis is actually like doing a puzzle. The analyst is looking for a couple of key pieces that fit together in a particular way, and it's a lot easier to put together a puzzle if you can view many pieces at the same time. I wonder if that's true. When I read that, I'm made to think of jigsaw puzzle. Huh? And obviously, you pick out a nice looking puzzle picture and you find another bit of the puzzle that looks a bit similar and you see if it connects. And if it does connect, you then see if it makes sense, even just looks like every bit of the picture connects. And you slowly work through jigsaw puzzles that way. And of course, near the end, when you've only got a few pieces left, it actually gets a lot easier to just put the last ones in position. In the middle bit, it's not so much fun. Now, a few years ago, and I'm on the rabbit hole thing here, but very quick, I discovered that they were marketing a three-dimensional jigsaw puzzle. Imagine you've got a circle, like a globe, yeah? And they're marketing a jigsaw puzzle that fits. They're slightly curved, and you actually make up the jigsaw puzzle as a globe. So it's a 3D jigsaw puzzle. And I think they missed a trick there because it was, you put it together and it became a 3D object. So instead of a picture you might put in a frame and put on a wall, as you might with a completed jigsaw, you would hang this from the ceiling as a 3D globe jigsaw. Which was fine, but they almost missed it. It makes you wonder if they missed an opportunity to incorporate 3D information into that. So it's, we would have some kind. It wouldn't be the same thing, but maybe we'd throw three-dimensional pieces at you, and you would put them together a bit like you do with Lego or something, and you'd have a much more complex piece of art when you finish the so-called jigsaw or whatever. So anyway, I know when Dayton were doing this, it was simply that third dimension, whereas a graph would show you width and height. Putting that graph with additional information in a virtual reality setting meant you could also use an extra dimension, in that case depth, you know, to give you more information. So you might have sort of volume in one thing, and then you'd have over a period of time dates in the second um, dimension. But when you move it into the third dimension, the volume can be made much more specific, like volume of what. And if there are different types of what, then that could all be included in the third dimension of information. So once again, I'm talking about something I really don't know much about,
You
except
need a
for
drink of water?
yeah, except in the mood. No, too many flies in it.
Okay.
Sorry, that's a Joe Jones will understand. Right. Anyway, this article tells you all about it, and yeah, if you look up Dayton, kind of Daden on the web too, they do a lot of training spaces stuff in 3D, but data processing was one of the very big things they've been doing for, let's say, 15 years or something. So they used OpenSim and Second Life very heavily at the beginning. In fact, yeah, actually, we're always speeding up a bit for once. Right, that picture up now actually gives you an idea. I mean, this isn't Second Life, but you would have the avatar, and they'd be able to walk around sort of skyscrapers and things. And unlike a bar chart, each skyscraper has have four sides of information, not just the two you would see, or not just the one rather that you would see on the bar chart. So you can compare it to the next skyscraper and see how much bigger it is, how much more content it's got, for example. The height might represent content. But instead of just comparing the two side by side, as you would on a bar chart, each bar now has an additional three sides of information. So you can compare a vast amount more. That was the analogy I was trying to come up with, the fact that, yeah, a tower in two dimensions has one side, whereas in three dimensions it has four. So you're not just getting an extra side, you're actually getting four out of it. Anyway, moving on, because I could talk about this all day and then have somebody ring me up and say, "What the hell are you talking about, mate?" arpost.com, arpost.co, sorry, not com. CO, without the M there. Right, moving back up, we have one show this week from our friends Voices of VR, Kent By, of course. And number 988, defining biometric psychography. Yeah, not psychotherapy, this is psychography. To fill gaps in privacy law to cover XR data and Britain Heller's human rights perspectives. This is an audio cast. You basically go to voicesofvr.com and you'll get the summary here, as well as the audio podcast. So voicesofvr.com. And I'll just read out this if you can't see it that well here at the top there. Introducing biometric psychography. Biometric sociography is a new concept for a novel type of bodily centered information that can reveal intimate details about users' likes, dislikes, preferences, and interests. I guess the God Emperor Zuckerberg is going to be interested in this one, isn't he? Right. Immersive technology must capture this data to function, meaning that while biometric psychography may be relevant beyond immersive tech, it will become increasingly inescapable as immersive tech spreads. This is important because current thinking around biometrics is focused primarily on identity. But biometric psychography is the practice of using biometric data to instead identify a person's interests. Yeah, I think the aforementioned person's probably read it already, and it's his Bible. Yeah. Anyway, this Britton Heller is a human rights lawyer who wrote a paper on all this stuff, and her perspective is very much human rights. So is dealing with something we've just explained from a human rights perspective, which of course is when you consider the implications of biometric psychography is now I must remember this one. You can see that human rights and is probably a very crucial part of the legislation that will be needed in the future concerning biometric psychography. Oh, we learn something every week, don't we? Whether I'll remember it or even learn how to pronounce it properly, I don't know. Okay, so the audio cast that goes with that, the podcast rather, is voicesofvr.com, voicesofvr.com. Excellent site, can buy, and he does plenty of interviews. I think it's only one this week, but he does a lot. Okay, so moving down the list here. And we come to wherever else, Forbes.com, Forbes.com. And I see it seems our lag is disappearing. Right, I wonder what's happened here. I literally, this page came up as soon as I did it. Right, okay. Anyway, this week in XR, right, this is an article, a written article at Forbes.com. And Charlie Fink says he's a former tech executive covering VR, AR, new media for Forbes. Right, he obviously feels the need to introduce himself again. Thought everybody knew him. Right, and it's basically a sort of roundup about XR. He covers a lot more stuff, a bit like Scott Ghost, that is not in framework here really. Looking at the battles between Apple and Epic, and especially the lawsuit concerning Fortnite, which obviously does count as VR in a way. And basically, the trial was in Australia, but it's actually now moving to California. So I guess it will be decided under Californian law starting in, well, next month it says, which I presume it means May. Okay. Don't know what that. Vuvix partners with TechC to bring AR-powered virtual assistants to the enterprise market over Vuvix smart glasses. HP Reverb Omnicept launches in May. It's a professional level headset. It will cost you, basically $1,250 US. So it's definitely preferable. He also refers to Tony Vitello's Scar Ghost Unity Cube. That way, right. He describes well, Vista is Vitello's Unity Cube is to test the limits of what Oculus will allow into the App Lab program. Now, oh, well, I didn't really mention that when I App Lab is, as far as I understand, a secondary app market for the Oculus Quest, and unlike the main app marketplace, which is run by Fastbook, the App Lab is a kind of place where people can put experimental or unapproved, maybe. I'm not quite sure. Basically, other apps. So
Hmm.
it's like having an Apple App Store for iOS, which is a secondary store that contains stuff that hasn't necessarily been through the whole shit out all of Apple's
Yeah.
verifications.
There's been
They actually,
a third-party program called SideLoader, SideQuest,
yeah,
and so that let
yeah,
people use the Android operating system to install Oculus applications. But now Facebook is making a more approved pathway for side loading apps. But it's interesting, you can't, there's no app lab inside of the headset. You have to get a URL from a developer, and then they can direct you to their app lab page, and then you can install it. So it's still a funny little workaround.
it's still a workaround.
Yeah.
Yeah, something I don't seem to. Well, basically, the first iPad I ever had, I signed up for well, not called SideQuest. What was it called? Test Flight. That was it.
Hmm.
And some of the early, I think Adam from Science Base and a few people. There were a few people loaded like virtual world experiments there, and you couldn't actually download it from the App Store, but you could download Test Flight, and you would then give your Apple ID, just your ID, basically like an email address to somebody who had developed an app, and you could be invited in to download the app
Hmm.
through Test Flight. So I had a few, had a few virtual world sort of things on my original iPad. Now I know Test Flight still exists, but I haven't been able to get in there recently at all. I mean, obviously, some of the apps I've downloaded from it are probably now gone. It's very much a test bed. Um, but also somehow I've sort of changed. I didn't use it that much, and over the years I've upgraded my iPads. The same account, but I have no. Whenever I open Test Flight, I can't find anything. So my library there has got nothing in it anymore. So anyway, yeah. So Unity Cube, Skull Ghost, sort of stretching the limits in AtLab programs, and James gave you a better description of what all that is about than I could. Right. Also, Robert's gone introducing eGlass, which is a hybrid classroom solution. A teacher can draw on a transparent piece of glass for students in the classroom. Then the image on the glass can be flipped into a conference call for students learning remotely. I guess that just sounds like a piece of glass to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Imagine you're looking in a webcam and you hold this glass between your own face and the webcam, and it will show an overlay of information. That doesn't make it e-glass, but maybe it's more complex than that. Anyway, um, uh, yeah. Forbes.com is where you get all this stuff from. The week in XR and or this week in XR, I should say. Not to be confused, although easily confused with the week this week in XR, which is a podcast hosted by Charlie and Ted Schilowitz, which you will see a little bit of in a way. So there you are, the written roundup, the week in XR, this week in XR, to be found at Forbes.com, FORBES.com. Moving on, last of the websites, bar one. Um, this futuristic VR could be a game changer. This is techradar.com midweek. Um, a game changer for virtual reality headsets. Well, I mean, that's very just like an illustration there. There's nothing that in that picture that makes you even really visualize the real thing. But basically, a company is building light field display technology for mixed reality headsets, and they've teased an impressive performance from a prototype, which they reckon could be a game changer for VR. In a new promotional video, Swiss manufacturer C-Real demonstrates a headset capable of focusing at long distances and rendering high-resolution imagery up close, marking a leap forward for mixed reality technology, which has been hampered by less than clear visual fidelity. Right. Okay. You would have thought that. Let's just go to see real very. Oh, this site, by the way, is techradar.com. techradar.com. If you want it, I'm just going to follow the link to see real to see if the video they mentioned is be found. Oh, and it looks like it is. So we'll just have a quickie. Go to watch the video.
Have you noticed that when you look at your finger with one eye, you're sharp, while everything else is blurred, like me here? But when your focus changes, you can see me. Hello. And the finger is blurred. Now imagine, you take smart glasses, like this, which project virtual images into your eyes and fuse them with the reality. Let's try that. And you know what? The virtual objects should blur in the same way like the real ones. They should. But they don't today. This is wrong. This is what leads to an eye strain, which you perhaps know from the virtual reality and maybe 3D cinema today. We make it right. We make glasses which project so-called light field. Light field makes it right. Light field is the future of virtual reality.
I like that dragon thing or whatever he was holding. Yeah, that's it. Oh, that was like a full screen square shaped video. So what you saw there was really only the top of it. The beginning particularly had a hand, which a real person's hand, which was in and out of focus as the hand went out of focus as the camera focused on the guy talking, and vice versa. But yeah, light field technology, what that's all about there. So that demo is at creal.com, creal.com, and that's where that video is, plus a whole load of other information and stuff, which you might want to look at. And right, moving finally on to the very, very last web link, as it were, of the week. This came from this morning. This is from a magazine. God, I used to. I don't get it anymore, but I used to get this endlessly every week. TVB Europe, TV Broadcast Europe is actually the name of the thing. But here it's TVB EUROPE.com. And the site is all to do with broadcast technology and things. But they produced this thing. It was on actually April 8th, and it's referring to tonight, Sunday night. And I'm not entirely sure what time, but I suspect it's the sort of thing that could be probably starting around now, to be honest. But it's quite interesting. Somebody called Liam Payne, and I honestly haven't got a clue who this is. But from the media coverage, obviously some people do. He will be hosting the British Academy Film Awards tonight, using using a digital doppelganger. And you'll be able to see his avatar in a world first real time augmented reality mobile experience creating using EE's 5G network. The performance is recorded live and beamed to fans in Britain here on their mobile phones wherever they are, via an AR app you can download called The Round. Yes, The Round. So you better get that quick onto your iPad or whatever if you want to test it out. Apparently, it looks good. That's all I can say. Um, right. The Round was developed as an app. The app was developed as a way to enable live event producers and creators to build and distribute their productions using augmented reality, and they describe it as a venue for live holographic performances. And anyway, it goes on about this. Um, Part of Digital Catapult's 5G Accelerator program. Um, and well, this article obviously, although it's a TVB Europe, is actually going quite heavily into the technology behind it, which is of interest to us, of course, rather than just a cinematic awards sort of show. The avatar has been created using photogrammetry, and I noticed when I was reading this earlier, there's basically um, the poor guy had to be stuck in uh, capture suit, which he wasn't keen on doing apparently, but nevertheless he also eventually put on the dreaded mocap suit. He describes it saying, "Oh well, I'm up for anything." And they did some motion capture, but they've also used photogrammetry, where they captured his image from every single angle you could imagine. So basically, they've created a high resolution from all perspectives of his avatar, as it were, and then they're controlling the avatar with two technologies, one of which is standard motion capture, but the other is facial capture. So they've really pulled out all the stops to make this digital doppelganger, as they call it, as completely real as possible. Um, so you can read all about how they did it there. They've got a link also for downloading the app. I imagine that this is the sort of thing that they'll probably try and make some kind of 2D video of and publish afterwards. But apparently, if you want to actually be there tonight, you actually have to download the Round app and in that way. So that's a bit of a well, quite literally breaking news. Um, they're planning a year of R&D, research development on creation software to allow live event producers to build an entire production and operate it in real time, whether that be a scene change, lighting change, new sets, etc. But they're not expecting to deliver that to the end of 2022. Um, but obviously something that would be even more important if various forms of lockdown and COVID um, restrictions come into play, or just important if people want to keep working and entertaining themselves from home instead of going out. You never know. That may be people may be actually latching onto that idea, and it may continue even after COVID. Although arguably there's no such thing as an after COVID. It will always be management of it. Right. So that was TVB Europe, and that's the last of those. So I'm just going to go to the very top of my list here, just things I left out at the beginning, because they're actually YouTube links. They aren't on any of my Twitter feeds. The only place you'll find them is my Toots at Mastodon, my feed there, and also in a Discord channel, which is it goes to Mastodon, and then that automatically gets relayed. And anyway, let's see. Working from the bottom, right? VR download episode 61. There is 62 is up, but as you probably know, the second one of the week um, is come on. You're meant to be big. We'll see.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of VR Download, a twice-weekly show where we talk about VR stuff. And if you're a regular fan of the show, you know the show is live. And we're putting this on YouTube right now. If you are watching live, feel free to put your comments and questions into the chat area, and we will address them as they come along. If you're listening to this or what?
Right, the temptation. I keep forgetting we're not going to be listening for an hour, are we?
Right.
Right. It's an hour long. Now this actually was published on Monday, 1 p.m. Pacific time, which is pretty late over here. I mean, you can think of it being like available for replay by Tuesdays. They tend to discuss hardware and interesting stuff on this program. Less interesting to us, but no less interesting, I'm sure, to people who play games and stuff, is their Thursday edition, where they focus more on games and experiences rather than the technology behind it. So in this program, they're looking at Quest 2's sales, Niantic, Snapchat's augmented reality, and the contract between the US Army and Microsoft to out the whole army with HoloLens 3. Um, so over in the States anyway, if you see soldiers walking down the street, they will have HoloLenses on them, which I guess makes a change from the armoured look of most police forces in America. I don't know. Maybe the soldiers are going to go look more virtual as the police look more soldiery. Very weird. Okay, so that's one thing they're looking at there. To get to this, you actually want to go to the account Upload VR. Upload VR squashed together. It was all one word, but VR in caps. And as I say, it's twice a week, but you should look out for the Monday one if you're really interested in the technology and stuff. Nothing particularly to scroll forward to here. They're just chatting away. Looking at Quest 2 there.
Niantic versus Snapchat.
I quite like the way they go and load websites and then point at it. I'm afraid I can't quite do that. You're left with my mouse, and I have no idea what's happening now. It's just lag all.
It's very white.
Oh, it's YouTube trying to interrupt me with an app.
To be the winner out of
Again, I'm afraid I'm sharing these in YouTube via my reader, which is Safari's reader, basically on the Mac, and I don't have a plugin to kill the ads, which is very annoying, especially when I'm trying to talk, just introduce them. Anyway, also at YouTube, the next one is This Week in XR. Now, this is the video equivalent of the Forbes article from um, Charlie Fink I mentioned earlier, and Paramount Pictures futurist Ted Schilowitz. And their guest here is this week's guest needs no introduction. It's Brendan Bradley. Well, you could have fooled me. I think I would like an introduction, actually.
This week in XR, Charlie Fink, Ted Schilowitz, futurist at Paramount Pictures. And here for probably the slowest this week of the year, but we have a fantastic.
That's what I thought too.
Yeah.
Bradley created future stages using WebXR. So one-click animation and you're in. He works with NYU, and we have a great conversation on that coming up, which is good, Ted, because we don't have a whole hell of a lot to say today. It looks like, though,
I've just noticed something on this, and it's not the case, of course. If you look down the middle, there's a line separating their two cameras, but there was a second ago, where the lines sort of blended into the window behind Ted, and you could have believed, lighting aside, that they were in the same room. Yeah, the giveaway, of course, is the amount of light coming in underneath by the flowers, but I've just had a thought, if two people on cameras together in Zoom or whatever, will actually have matching backgrounds, or at least matching where they join, that's another way you could possibly fool people into thinking the two people in the same place. But anyway, or the background
Not like we do it.
Yeah, a background could simply be a shared virtual world. No, I'm talking about webcam broadcast as opposed to whatever. But yeah. Anyway, they go on and where are you? Oh yeah, there we are. This is the famous Brendan Bradley.
Kit bashing, tearing the apart, and really excited.
Come on, I want to see the bit where you introduce him.
future stage, theatrical. And they recently posted. Brendan, thanks for jumping on with us this week.
Okay, we got an introduction of sorts there. Now we know who he is. So if you want to go to This Week in XR is the account at YouTube there. It's only a half-hour show, so it's pretty manageable. And this, sorry, the actual account is This Week in XR, 4 words there, although XR is just XR in capitals, so to speak. So again, it's another, good weekly show to put on your list and maybe subscribe to. Right. Next up, we have the F Reality podcast, which again is a video
Like half your
podcast.
brain going, Becky, you doing, man? My wife was like,
Ooh. Oh, God, ads go.
the faux front. Like, you're embarrassed, aren't you?
You
I'm
can't
like,
even change the volume without YouTube
grown man, like bunny hopping a tree.
giving you an ad.
Trying to.
It was it was an experiment. I've done it a couple of times, but I was like, okay, I've got everything I need.
Okay. F Reality podcast is known now. So here they're talking about HTC's a new headset, which, HTC teases a new VR headset. Another called Pico Neo 3 and also HP's Reverb G2 Omnicept. Oh, damn it. Words. Why can't they come? I suppose they have to come up with these absurd sounding words to describe things. The product makers, obviously. Right, so the account here at YouTube is F Reality. That's FREALITY. Both the F and the R are in caps, and then you've got space VR in letters space podcast. And that's what you want to look up there at YouTube for that one. Right, a whole gang of them on this one, actually, just talking about all sorts of stuff. Mainly, again, of course, it's the virtual reality uh, generic headsets. Sorry, generic hardware. Really, the kit you need. The kit you need. That's what they talk about, so to speak. Right. We also have Between Realities, as opposed to F Reality.
Reality station.
Right, this one you probably know. These two appear every week, and then they have a guest usually showing on the screen behind them. Right, they're looking at Pooh Nanas of VR Spawn. Between Realities VR podcast. Right, so Back with a Vengeance. Joining them is VR esports guru, founder of VR Espawn, and commentator extraordinaire. Oh, I see. Pooh Nanas is pretty. We're stoked to catch up on 2 weeks worth with him. So,
And he has doubted.
there he is.
Called like. Yeah, they are really nice. Yeah. This is the time that we use them.
Okay. When he introduces the guy, the guest, he describes it as the best haircut in VR or something. It's quite funny, but I obviously missed that. There's a lot to scroll through there. It's actually 1 hour 40 minutes long, so good luck with scrolling to a particular piece. What I like on YouTube these days is some videos actually now are segmented, so you can, for example, a concert video, you can see as you move your mouse, like I'm doing at the bottom here, you can see each track and skip forward to the beginning of the track or where you want in the concert. And that the same has happened with various, longish programs that are published on YouTube. And it would be, I gather, fairly easy for have a long show like this is divided up. Arguably, of course, I don't do it either. I mean, you could argue that I should be doing it, which would mean creating a little segment for each little screen share I do and whatever I say about it. But I think when you've got a guest and maybe you're talking about 5, you've got a show that's in 5 sections or something. It's something that it might be practical to do, especially when 1 hour 40 minutes. I wouldn't know where to scroll. I can do that, and I'm at where am I? I'm at 51 minutes. It's just the same as earlier on. So, anyway, this is the easy one to remember. YouTube account is Between Realities. Between one word, then a space, then realities. Realities. For those of you who spell reality. Sorry. Right, and yeah, well, that's where you find them. And the final one for this week is there's another edition here of this one. Well, this is more to do with games, I have to admit. Not quite as extensively as some of them. But they have this show called Coffee and VR, basically. So it is definitely VR there. They look at sick upcoming games. Well, they can keep them as far as I'm concerned, but they also do have a section where they're talking about VR movement tracking and what is presumably HTC's new headset. It just says new headset here. Now, although they're called Coffee and VR, their actual site at YouTube is Rendered Realities. So that's RenderedReality. So rendered and reality both have capital letters. Otherwise, it's lowercase, but both words are actually squashed together, as is a familiar phenomenon, both here and there and everywhere, really, on the web. It's the land of it's not electronic world. It's the squashed world, isn't it?
The land of squash dreams.
Yeah, the information highway where everything is squashed. Yeah, so that means the information highway has now become a traffic jam. Does that figure?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Al Gore, but come on, information superhighway, cool, but it's a traffic jam like everything else over there. Oh yeah, it's like all your other highways. I'm sorry, I'm being flippant there. That's it. That's it. Believe it or not.
Oh,
Um.
okay.
Oh. Yeah. Abrupt there. I don't know how long we've been on air today, but I don't think it was going to be very long. I
An
can't
hour,
tell.
hour 15.
So yeah, well, we're still under 90 minutes, which is not bad.
Not bad.
But I would say it's funny, as Charlie thinks said there, it's got to be the slowest news week ever. So it's all not all down to me that it was
Right,
a
right.
manageable show.
Not
Yeah.
just us.
So
Right.
yeah. So any thoughts on all that, James?
Oh, I'm sorry. I guess I'm a little thoughtless today.
We all are actually.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
called phased actually. It's the sort of conversation we should have at the beginning of the show. The only problem being is we haven't actually seen all the items.
Right, right.
We haven't seen. We need to sort of know what's new with you this week at the beginning of the show before
Yeah.
we actually get into the things that are were there. But actually, to be honest, I don't really think there was a great deal there for talking about
Not a lot.
this week. I
Yeah.
mean, it's all fairly rudimentary. It's all good to promote whatever, and there's always a bit of news of some sort.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I think
yeah,
the Neuralink chimpanzee is probably the most exciting news.
yes.
Oh, I was waiting for the little helicopter on Mars to fly, but that's being delayed now. So.
I'd lost track of that.
Yeah.
Well, to be honest, I probably would have heard if it had flown.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
I remember earlier in the week there was something about it was about to take off or something, but then presumably it didn't, and
Right. Right.
we heard no more.
Didn't
But
get up.
over in the UK, over in the UK here, there's a bit of a dearth of any actual news at the moment because of
Mm-hmm.
the all the channels of non-stop coverage of the royal family.
Right.
Even to the extent of forgetting to update us on COVID daily. Um,
Right.
it's
That little thing. Yeah.
that little thing, yeah. I mean, they
Right.
have got. There's going to be a funeral, which is going to be low key, and they're trying to keep people away, and baby broadcasts and everything, and yeah. So there is a nod in the direction of COVID, but it's sort of it's all contextualized by um, the royal family sort of stuff,
Yep.
and
Yep.
Um, yeah, suddenly, everybody visiting Buckingham Palace to commiserate with the Queen is suddenly. I don't think I've seen one face mask amongst them.
Oh,
Even though
oh my.
apparently they will all be required to wear face masks at I think there's less than 30 people going to be at the funeral, all royalty and major
Yeah, yeah.
people, and they're all required by law to wear face masks at the funeral. So
All right.
there'll be no skipping the masks there, whatever they think about appearance. This is not the time to be concerned with one's appearance. Yeah, no, it's not. Anyway, so well, that's it for us. That's it for us. We're down to a manageable time again for
Yep.
several times recently, which is good. And yeah, we've got nothing else to say, have we? We will be back same time, same place next week, which basically is Sundays at well, it's 7 p.m. in the evening in the UK here, which is I've forgotten what it is, 11 a.m. Pacific, and
In the
actually
virtual
for
world
James it's
capital. Yeah.
yeah, exactly, and for James it's something else entirely as
Right.
well. A mountain is it or
One in the afternoon Central Standard Time. Central
Central
Daylight
Standard?
Time. Right.
Central Daylight, fair
Right.
enough, right. Oh, the beauty of time zones today. But at
Hmm.
least we've all gotten round to putting our clocks forward or back or whatever the hell we
We
do
should
for
all be
summertime.
synchronized, right?
So we should be synchronized and back to our standard 8 hours apart in my case and Pacific and well whatever. Oops. So yeah. So when I say same time, same place, that's it. Do remember you can join the studio here and watch us do this live if you really want. We're in Sansar, the virtual world, and the region you want is come on. Actually, I'll give it to James. Is it Out Loud One or
Oh, Loud Lab 1.
Loud Lab? Yeah.
Right.
Spell it. Loud double
L
two L's.
Yeah, LLOUD LAB 1.
Right.
Are you sure we're ready
La-
for guests?
yeah, yeah, we
All
got
right.
quite.
All
Well,
right.
yeah, if they really. I mean, I suspect they'll be really dedicated if they come. So fair enough.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I mean, that they're very good at clapping when we come in, But I mean, I think we could have that a bit louder, you
Oh,
know.
oh, really?
If
Okay.
I'm gonna be joining in the Yahoo chorus or Yeehaw chorus, the more the merrier, Then they can go and sleep, because when I'm doing the news, they'll probably bored to tears.
Yeah.
But they can always have a nap and think, you can say you were there live and you won't have to go to all the trouble of going to YouTube and getting it in replay. So lots of advantages to coming and joining the audience here. There really are. So we will be utterly, completely pleased to see you. We
All
would.
right.
Yes. And if you've got anything to say, we might even put you on air. But you'd have to be in Discord too. But let us know if you want to be a guest. Let us know if you want to be a guest. Contact me in Discord, either at Hypergrid channel or the Discord channel. Right. So why not? Why not is what I says. Um, it's goodbye from one in the spectacular loud shirt.
And one in the standard but very nice looking jacket.
Indeed, both of us, because when it comes to AR, when it comes to VR, when it comes to XR, when it comes to MR, when it comes to you know it. One, a two, a three. We
We
are
are.
off, as what character used to say.
Yep.
Okay, well, that's it. Time to wrap. Have a good week, everybody. Stay safe. Stay indoors still, if you can.
Yeah.
Yeah, work from home if you can. Doesn't matter what they say, it ain't going away. So you need to keep safe, healthy, and everything else. But all being well, you'll be able to join us same time, same place next week. So bye for now.